Now, the equally legendary Matt Atchity from Rotten Tomatoes.
That's a tough act to follow.
Yeah, well, I imagine that you're not going to call anyone knuckle-dragging Neanderthals like Grayson does, but that's all right.
I could. I'm sure I could think of some people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're going to go after some people, though. We are.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right, so first, let's talk about the movies that are coming out soon.
Okay, so opening yesterday, we've got Michael Jackson's This Is It. This is the movie that's assembled from the rehearsal footage that was shot at the Staples Center, put together, and critics are loving it.
Really?
Yeah, 80% on the tomato meter last I checked, and people are saying that it's a good documentary and it's a great kind of final showcase, reminding us of what he was capable of, or the good things he was capable of.
That's fascinating. You know, I was interviewed by Russian television today on this movie about this movie.
Interesting.
And of course, I know nothing about it. That's how I roll. All right. So, no, seriously, what I couldn't grasp is how are they going to do a plot line? Is it going to be...
Well, it's not a plot. It's a documentary, right?
Okay.
So it's really just about the preparation from pretty much kind of the inception to the very first rehearsals as far as they got when he passed away.
Now, people are saying that this is going to get like 250 million, like within the first week worldwide.
I don't know that it's going to get that high. I don't know that it's going to be that high. But, if the critics have anything to say, people are definitely liking it. Again, it's about 80%, and most of the reviews that I've read have said that, and having the bits that I've seen, the footage, I mean, it kind of makes you think, a lot of people were questioning those London shows, because that's what he was preparing for. Mm-hmm. That series of, 3 months of shows. And as much as people were saying that, oh, he's too sickly, he's not going to be able to do them, this seems to show that he would have kicked ass and took names. That it would have been a return to the old Michael, like, oh my gosh, he's an amazing performer. And that's kind of what you're getting for this movie.
And, of course, because when the first clips of this came out, it led us to believe, oh my, he wasn't on the edge of death,
Yeah.
And so
and
him dying is an even bigger tragedy.
Yeah.
Like if you thought he was withering away, and so then you get a sense of it was inevitable, right? But you watch this and you think it wasn't inevitable.
No. I mean, the backup dancers are trying to keep up with him. I mean,
But maybe that's because he's so,
maybe. But some of the reviews, and again, the clips that I've seen, granted they wouldn't be showing these clips ahead of time, but a lot of the reviews say that even if you're looking for traces of somebody who's having trouble, at least the stuff that they've pulled for this movie don't show any of that. He looks healthy. He looks like he's in good shape.
Matt, I reached an unfortunate conclusion as you were speaking. You see, I have 0% interest in this movie, but my unfortunate conclusion is that I'm going to be forced to go. Because my wife loves Michael Jackson. There's no way she's not going to see this. And you've unfortunately taken away my one excuse. If the critics liked it that much, and then she pulls the Rotten Tomatoes card out on me, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble.
I'm sorry to be giving her that trump card. I'm sorry, man.
All right. So, oh well. Okay, now there's another movie coming out now.
So now this movie's there's another movie that's kind of in limited release. And not a lot of people know about it, but it's called Boondock Saints 2, All Saints Day. Mm-hmm. Now, you may not be familiar with the original Boondock Saints, which is 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it's an action movie. It's about two brothers in Boston, kind of two scruffy guys that they get beat up by the mob, and they go on this vigilante killing spree.
Well, that sounds pretty fun.
It's not a bad premise, but all it is shootouts, and it's got no story. And the original movie... Anyone who knows anything about film hates the movie. Hates it. Hates it. It makes people angry. But there's a class of people that love it. It's not offensively bad. Uh-huh. It's along the line. It's like a Tarantino movie that's been dumbed down.
But then let me ask you though, could it be characterized as an old school Steven Seagal kind of movie?
Yeah, something along those lines. It's somewhere between Tarantino and what the Wachowskis were doing with The Matrix, where it glorifies the violence, but there's no story to back it up.
Well, first of all, you had me at no story. If there's no story, I'm not going. Okay, so it's done. I hate to break it to Boondock Saints 2, but I'm not going. But, as you see the clips look pretty cool. Like, if they sold it as, Steven Seagal, don't be a bad guy, be a good guy,
Right,
maybe
but-
I might go.
Well, but the question is, can you make a whole movie on the cool scenes that you would see in the trailer? Right. That's kind of what they did with the first one. That's what they've done with this one. What's amazing is that this movie actually even got made because the director of this film, a guy by the name of Troy Duffy, was kind of the toast of Sundance. Everybody was really excited about this guy's movie. When his first one came out, it kind of was a bit of a sleeper hit. It got this big cult following. All of a sudden, everybody loved Troy Duffy, and he managed to piss off everyone in Hollywood. This guy managed to burn bridges like you wouldn't believe. And in fact, there's a documentary that came out. As soon as the movie started to hit, some guys followed him around with a camera and started filming what it was like to be an overnight sensation. And it went completely downhill for this guy.
You know, people drive me crazy. I mean, you're on top of the world, and you go piss it away by, being a jerk to everybody. What
and that's
gets
what
in
this
there?
guy did.
How young was he?
I think he was probably in his late 20s, early 30s. I mean,
that's old enough. I mean, you're a grown-ass man.
Well, it's not like he was a teenager, right? But it's like the opposite of what happened with Tarantino, right? Tarantino gets this, Quentin Tarantino does Reservoir Dogs, and it's this big hit, and he turns around and he starts making good movies, right? And he starts, and Reservoir Dogs, great. But he follows that up with good films, and he works the system, and he manages to make great relationships. He's got the Weinsteins on his side, and he turns out really good product. And he knows how to work within Hollywood. He knows that, for whatever he did, he knows how to make friends. I mean, if nothing else. Duffy did the exact opposite. The stunning arrogance, if you watch the documentary, it's just amazing. It's like all of a sudden he turns into, oh yeah, I'm the next Spielberg.
Yeah, right. Okay, now look, we're going to go on to some of the fall stuff, but before you came in, Matt, and Matt actually, of course, is with Rotten Tomatoes, and I would have gone with, based on the trailers, Boondock Saints 2 over This Is It.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Now you flip me.
Well,
maybe I'm thanking you later.
Well, but Boondock Saints is about 20% right now.
It's 20% on the tomato meter?
On the tomato meter.
Oh, that's disastrous.
Right.
Disastrous.
Right.
Okay.
Now, a dumb action movie at, say, 50 or 60%, something like Shoot 'em Up, right? At like 50%, absolutely go see it, right?
Because there's something to that.
There's something to that. But
all right, I hear you. So now let's talk real quick about the stuff that's coming out in the fall. Avatar, Sherlock Holmes, 2012, New Moon. Those are the big ones.
Those are some of the biggest ones, yeah. Oh, and Princess and the Frog, which is the new Disney film.
Okay, Disney, I have no interest. Okay, so Avatar.
So James Cameron's next film. This is his first theatrical, dramatic film since Titanic. This one is 10 years in the making. He's been working on this forever. New trailer just hit the web today. It's in 3D. A lot of people are saying that he's going to revolutionize the way 3D is used in film. And
do we have to wear the goofy glasses?
Yes, you have to wear the goofy glasses.
The glasses pinched my head when I watched Up in 3D.
Yeah, I've got the wide head thing too. Maybe you have to get 2 pair of glasses. Do what I do.
All right, now here's the thing. It looks goofy to me, and I kind of like science fiction, but
well, it's going to be awesome. I got to tell you, as much as people are predicting bad things for this, they did the same thing for Titanic. They predicted bad things out of Cameron, and based on his track record, all of his movies, but his very first one, are rated very fresh. They're all at least 80%.
For the tomato meter. Okay, that's interesting. All right, Sherlock Holmes, they do a whole different thing on it.
Yeah, it's Guy Ritchie who did Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Guy Ritchie's doing Sherlock Holmes. No wonder it looks so different.
Yeah, it's Guy Ritchie, and it's Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law as Sherlock Holmes and Watson. And
Sherlock Holmes is a bit of an ass.
Yes.
And Watson has his back.
And Watson
but they
has
get
his
into
back.
a lot of fights. It's not a lot of pipe holding. It's more
a lot of fighting and
sex.
And what's weird about this is there were early reactions, and the studio, and they're really getting away from this, but there were early reactions that there was kind of this homoerotic undercurrent to the relationship that's not as overt as, say, the Starsky and Hutch movie, but there's this...
What? Starsky and Hutch?
Oh, you saw the Starsky and Hutch movie, right? Like, they totally played on that.
Yeah, I missed that. I saw it, too. Maybe
they
I
all
remembered
made out of that movie.
Maybe I remembered it. I knew it at the time, but I don't remember that at all. That's funny. So they're throwing slight implications there for the people who want to hear it. But now, of course, that they're going to mass market, they're going to play that.
Right, exactly. And it's got Rachel McAdams, who's stunning. You can't go wrong there.
Okay,
I think that one opens
I'm
on
looking
Christmas.
for something to get excited about, right? And this looks okay, and Avatar looks okay to me, but I'm not sure I'm excited yet. 2012, that's
Roland Emmerich.
right.
It's
and
his next disaster movie. The world's coming to an end. This is based on the Mayan prediction or the fake prediction that some people have interpreted, the Mayan long count calendar that says the world ends in 2012.
All right, so on that one, does this guy do anything? Because he did Independence Day. He did the thing where everything freezes over.
Right. Day After Tomorrow.
Day After Tomorrow, right. And I love that. I love when the world ends and then things crash and stuff. Like, yeah, Independence Day I really enjoyed. Like everybody else didn't like Independence Day.
No, that's a great movie.
But I loved Independence Day. It's like that's like an American movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but doesn't there come a bounce of reason? Like, all right, but you just did the same movie, 8 different ways.
Yeah, it's. I guess he wants to study different scenarios of how the world would end. I think the first one that he did.
This is getting goofy though, isn't it?
He did Godzilla. So that's another world-ending movie. He did Stargate, which didn't. That was almost another world-ending, I guess.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, God, Godzilla. Yeah, no. Look, if this came out before any of those did, I would see it in a second. I'm like, cool, the world is ending. I love it. Right?
And some people, and that's exactly it. Some people love to see that. I mean, Irwin Allen built his career on that back in the 50s, right? Towering Inferno, and
right.
Earthquake, and.
See, I love things like that where like iconic things get destroyed, but in the movies, but no, I can't have it. No mas. I got to say no mas on that. And then so finally, New Moon is the
Twilight sequel, which I know is right up your alley. I know you're a Twilighter. I'm guessing you're a Team Jacob guy. You have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, you want to talk about being tired of a certain theme? Who isn't exhausted by that vampire theme? What was that thing came out with the great actor, the one that's Talladega Nights comedy actor with Will Ferrell?
Oh, John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly just did the Vampire's Assistant.
Was that super weak sauce or?
It was bad.
It
was
about
14%. Yeah,
it looked like a copy of a copy of a copy.
Well, and that was another one that it was somebody looking to start a franchise because there's a book about a kid who ends up with this traveling circus full of vampires and.
Matt, I don't know how you don't get tired of Hollywood. I mean, they just, once they get a theme, they just pound it and pound it and pound it.
I'm still a sucker for movies.
I thought that one was going to be something like a not another teen movie type of thing. Like I thought it was a joke, really.
The Vampire's Assistant? Oh, yeah, I know. It seemed like a joke. I thought it was a joke because then they have a comic actor like John C. Reilly in it.
Salma Hayek's in it.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden.
Well, she plays the bearded lady, so
all of a sudden back out. All right. So now you know what's coming up. Matt Atchity's from Rotten Tomatoes. You go to RottenTomatoes.com. They give you the tomato meter. You get a sense of how much the critics liked it. It makes too much sense. Matt, as always, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Excellent. We'll be right back.